Hi, we're going to work on factoring today. So what is factoring? Factoring is to break a polynomial down into lesser degrees, and if something's prime, it means it cannot be broken down. So if you look at our first example, between 3, 9, and 12, they all have the number 3 in common. So 3 is what we call our GCF, our greatest common factor. So I'm going to take the 3, or factor the 3 out, which means to divide it out. So 3x divided by 3 leaves me with an x. Bring down your sign, and then 9y divided by 3 is going to leave you with a 3y. And then 12 divided by 3 is going to leave you with a 4. And then if you wanted to check your answer, you could take your 3 and distribute your 3 back in, and you should get back to your original problem. Now let's look at our next example. So between 2 and 8, they share a greatest common factor of 2. But now with our variables, notice we have an x squared and an x. So we have the same variable in both terms. So I will take out the smaller exponent, which is the x. And again, I'm going to divide. So 2x squared divided by 2x would leave me with an x. And then I bring down my plus, and then 8 divided by 2 leaves me with a 4. And then the x and the x would cancel, and then I would be left with a y. And then if you wanted to check your answer, take your 2x and distribute it back in, and you will get back to your beginning problem. Our third example, I have a 12, a 4, and an 8, and they all have a greatest common factor of 4. And then we'll look at our variables. I have an x squared, an x, and an x. So every term has an x, and I will factor out the smallest exponent, which is x to the first. Y, y squared, and y. So I'll factor out the smallest exponent, which is a y. And again, I'm going to divide it out. 12 divided by 4 is a 3. X squared divided by x is an x.